try and get an award because you're a daughter or son of a veteran. Like, fuck you. Be so fucking good, man. They can't fucking ignore you. That's how I see the world, and that's how I want to face it. Like, there's people that want Emmys. I do too, shit. But I want it when I deserve it.
I didn't know I wasn't aware. You're full of shit. Anybody who says that, you're full of shit. Anybody who says, I heard things about Kevin Spacey. Like, wrong.
You know what's crazy about Hollywood for me? It's the only place in my world that I've ever seen experts at their craft not get opportunities.
The hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that are just, I'm looking around going like, if somebody doesn't pick up one of these fucking things.
I'll take two. I'll take two.
This? I'm out.
There's the side of me that's war, right? There's a side of me that'll always be war. And, you know, and that side will come out when it needs to, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I want to kind of see the world in a way that, like, there's still a chance, you know?
Yeah, man. If America's got any kind of a hope, it would be in people who think that way. It would be in people like you.
Welcome to the VinnyRoc podcast.
I took the blows and did it my way.
It's time. The VinnyRoc podcast.
Vincent Vitor.
What's going on?
Vitor Vincent. Hi.
Nice to meet you. We are rolling, man. Welcome to
the Mayans.
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's it. Oh. Yeah. That's why he came in. He's like, hi.
That's cool. Well, welcome to the VinnyRoc podcast, man.
Thanks, man.
I've been trying to get you on here for a minute. Those of you listening, those of you watching, this is my good friend, Adam Simon. We met many years ago. I think season 2 of Mayans is the time frame we met. We had breakfast at Homeboy's Industry. And so here we are many years later, man. A lot of changes in my life, a lot of changes in your life. Hey, I got a pretty big audition coming up, so I'm going to actually hit you offline and see if you know the producers.
Yeah. I'll let you do it. I remember that conversation, too, because it was like, what struck me in that convo, I was there with, shout out to Carlos, Abulis.
Yes. Yes.
And really, really dear friend and a great guy. But I remember that convo. It was like, I don't know, man. Like, just the instant, you're that. You remind me of my father in a lot of ways, which is a good thing. He's a great guy.
That's good.
And so, you know, former military, law enforcement. And so, like, when we sat down, I was like, this dude, and you got this kind of jovial nature about you, even though you're a stone cold killer. So, you know, but then, what's his name? Who's the guy? Your co-star on the show.
Cabral.
Yeah, Cabral. That guy was going to, he had so much caffeine with breakfast that morning. And so he just went on the combo and talking about the frog and the toad. And we went down a rabbit hole, and I was just hit with all this information. That's where I went. So I was like, I'm going to have to put a pin in this conversation with Vincent and take it up later.
It's funny, man. Me and him during that time, it's kind of like, yeah, we're on a big show, but what's going to happen next, or what's to come? So we ended up partnering up and talking to several different 1%er MCs and trying to see if they're interested in letting us kind of just ride along for a week, you know. And the show got like 7 different production companies like, yes, we want this. And FX, I wasn't on contract, but Richard was, and they put the kibosh on it, man. They didn't let us do it, and we were getting offered quite a bit of money. And I was like, damn, like, you know, the first time in my life I'm getting offered that kind of money, because right at that time I'm just like a nobody on the show, getting paid barely enough to survive, actually working jobs outside of it, right? Yeah. And they said we couldn't do it, and I was bummed. So then later we had another concept of kind of like spirit kind of healing, and the same conversation he started there was like, well, let's go and try and let's highlight some of these modalities to help some veterans. And that again was about to get picked up. And then he, at that point in his life, he was like, I'm not interested in kind of moving forward with the project. I'm like, okay. And so, we had a couple cool things running, but, they all fell through. But that's kind of how Hollywood is too, is like, you can't get excited about anything until you fucking show up that first day.
100%. Until the cameras are rolling. Even then, you don't know how many films have been done that get shelved,
Yeah.
and never see the light of day.
Dude, to me, it's like, did I get paid? Okay, then it's fair. I got paid for my time. Do I want it to come out? I did a film almost 2 years now. I still haven't seen it. I don't know if it's ever going to get the light of day. I'll text producer and they're like, we're still working on edits. And I'm like, holy fuck, dude. You know what I mean? So to me, if I get paid for the work, that's fair. But yeah, that's kind of how the world goes. Before this writing strike, I had some conversations with a showrunner on a potential TV show. And I was going to be projected to be the lead. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, this is going to be life-changing. Yeah. And then the writer strike and all that shit. So it's like, I don't get excited about anything anymore. I'm just kind of like, if it happens, it happens. The paycheck needs to show up and then I'll feel good about it.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing, like that's how Hollywood is set up. It's set up so you have to beg for permission. You have to beg for permission to do your thing. And and then all the pull yourself up by the bootstraps crowd comes running in and they go, well, do it yourself. Do it yourself. And, I'm kind of riding that line of like, yeah, I've had to do that, but they're still selling this lie that you're going to win the lottery, the lottery. Come on in, come in. Oh my God. Like that's the great acting teacher. This person, that's the great, oh my God, I get to be in this circle. Okay. Now I'm networking and I'm doing this stuff. And the reality is, man, like, and I am only speaking from my experience. That's it. And my experience has taught me a lifetime in this thing in different capacities, but it's taught me that Hollywood is a rigged game. And Hollywood itself, the studio system is built off of losers. It's not built off of winners. It's just like that. So it's...
Hey, wait, hold on one second. Those of you listening and watching, my boy Adam here is a writer and producer. We just went in, but we're going to talk about some of the Hollywood stuff, some of the writing stuff, some of the AI questions that are going on and kind of currently what you're doing right now. And so I think this is really pertinent topic for the AI thing more than anything, but also kind of how you've been able to kind of, where this conversation is kind of leading, is kind of control your own destiny in this space. And I think it's important for a lot of us who are in the Hollywood space trying to make it a living, and how hard it is. Like I'm currently not doing Hollywood at the moment because Hollywood is not working with me per se, in the sense of there's nothing that's available for me, and so those of you listening, that's where this conversation will go. I think it's an interesting one, so you guys will enjoy it. But yes, please. Why is it a place you said made for losers, or explain that?
So you've been to Vegas, you've been to Las Vegas, you've been to Atlantic City, those places are not built on people taking the house. They're built on, men and women sitting at the slot machine and dumping their children's future into a coin slot. Until they have nothing in their bank accounts. That's how you get a replica of the Statue of Liberty in the middle of the desert in Nevada. That's how you get those things. It's built off of people losing. And then that's one example, and I'll explain that. The other example that's within that ecosystem is the dirtiness of it. Creatives and people like you and people like me, you're a father, I'm a father. You're married, I'm engaged. You come into that ecosystem with a certain sense of because you've experienced it, this doughy-eyed, this is what I think about the art, this is what I think about Hollywood. And people come to Vegas with the same idea. I'm just here for the shows. I'm here for Cirque du Soleil and the wonderful dinners. But at the end of the day, Vegas is known for prostitution. It's known for rampant partying, alcohol abuse. People go there, it's Leaving Las Vegas with Nick Cage. That's the truth about Vegas. That's also the truth about Hollywood. is that there was a time in its beginning where the studio system were run by independent thinkers, independent people that were sponsoring the arts. Very much like the Medicis all the way back in the day with great artists that were up and coming, right? And that's how it was set up. But now, today, fast forward, they're a line item in a budget for BlackRock and Vanguard and, like these major, freaking corporations that they sit there and we look at it and go, my God, it's Warner Brothers Studios. My God, I've made it. But on the other side of the table, there's a bunch of billionaires sitting around going, okay, how's our real estate? How's this country doing? Oh, it's doing well. What's this fucking thing? Warner Brothers. Oh, you're spending billions of dollars. What's going on here? Like, why are they having problems? Okay, so what are their top productions? Oh, they got this Roadrunner movie starring John Cena. Yeah, shelve that shit. Like, that's not going out. We need to write off some losses. So these movies are not going to see the light of day. And this is the thing that nobody talks about. The other thing that people don't talk about is that whatever you think you know about the industry, just like whatever you think you know about Vegas, you know nothing unless you're in it. It's the line that Shia LaBeouf says in Borg versus McEnroe when he goes, all of you people in the media are asking me questions about things and you don't understand it because you don't do it. You're not in the trenches. You have no idea what it's like. And so,
and not to cut you off, but like it's the same as like people who talk about war, and I'm like, if you've been there, it's different, right? Or it's the same who people for me is like talk about baseball. Like I've had an intimate relationship with baseball for many years, and so some people never fully understand why there's a love for that game unless you've fully been inundated by it or raised by it, if you will. And it's the same like acting. I get a lot of people hit me up like, bro, I have this concept. I'm like, phew. Bro, I got millions of concepts. Yeah. I can't get my concepts past the finish line, and I've actually been in the world of it. I'm actually a writer on a big show. I still can't get my shit across the finish line. You know what I mean? Because it's a weird game.
That's what it is, right? So this idea and what you're saying leads to that big kind of revelation of that. And I wrote about this in the article that I sent you. Is that surprise, Hollywood lies. Everything you read about what movies make and what they do, it's in an area. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's pure propaganda bullshit. Sometimes they're completely making up numbers. Sometimes they say things like, oh, this movie was a total loss. It was a total loss. We made no money. We don't know what happened. And really, it raked in a bunch of cash. But they're saying that so they don't have to pay their actors, the rest of the above the line, the director, the writer, all the money that they're owed if it's a success, the points they have on the back end and stuff like that. And he's got no problem with me saying this, but Vince Vaughn talks about this all the time, that he has to force an audit on every production he's on just to find out what they fucking made. So, all this analysis about the film industry and its financials is based on bullshit numbers. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's money laundering. And
I think Bad Boys is really doing that good.
Bad Boys is doing that good. Bad Boys is, well, I mean, there's that thing, right? Like you can't argue with lines going down the street, right? Like, you can't argue with that.
It's our generation of like all of us have watched from the beginning. So we're gonna go watch the next one.
We're gonna go watch that thing.
Yeah. We're the movie goers, bro. We're the generation that lived in movie theaters. We showed up to theaters. My kids are still not the same as that. I'd get one ticket in the movie and stay there all day to watch 4 or 5 of them. You know what I mean? Like 100%. That's my era. So like watching Bad Boys, I'm like, man, this movie's gonna do good, and it's fucking killing it. But
what's up, y'all? Thank you for supporting the VinnyRoc podcast. Let's talk about a couple of the sponsors. Show them some love. Modern Gun School. There's just a little cup that they gave me. But Modern Gun School is a online, at your own pace, armor school. Build guns, take care of them, clean them, do your thing, okay? You would love it because I love it. A couple of my buddies have done it. It's a great company. Trust me, you can use your GI Bill. You can use your vocational rehab. Go check them out. Tons of veterans use it. If you guys aren't using your education benefits now, go use them. MIT 45. You guys have heard of Kratom? If you have questions of Kratom, well, we just did a podcast. So you guys go check it out if you have questions. This is proven to help people in many different ways. It's plant medicine. It's something that's new. a little controversial, but I promise you, I've only heard great things about it. You guys go check out Mid 45, incredible sponsor. We love them. One of our new sponsors, Just Meats. I'll show you what it looks like. They come in these packages right here. We have to freeze them because we get so many of them at a time. But if you don't freeze them, you can just take them right out the package and eat them because they're already pre-cooked. I got 2 of them thawing out right now. Gonna cook some rice, make some veggies. Everyone eats. Boom, we take off to sports, soccer, wrestling, golf, you name it, that's what we do. One of our other sponsors, pretty new. We're excited about it. Let me pull it out of my pocket. Scallywag Tactical. Have you guys ever seen these? Look at these daggers. Holy smokes. You can put them in your pocket. If you go walking, if you go hiking, you women out there who probably go walking the dog, whatever the case, you want something safe, this will protect you. Either way, you guys go check out our sponsors. We appreciate the support you've done for the VinnyRoc podcast. We have a new system now. We're going on teleprompter. A lot of our stuff's going to be remote so we can have some access to people that might not necessarily be able to bring into studio. We're excited about it. We're doing everything we can to continue to keep you guys happy and just bring you entertainment, but not even that. We talk about mental health and wellness for you guys who are out there who are looking for it. We want to be the resource. If you guys have questions, just call and ask whatever you need.
Brother, what was the last movie that, or have you guys even, like, what was the last movie that your kids were like, we want to go see that?
Yeah, it's hard because we are moving family because of me, but from the COVID situation, we've lost that. And then we have the little ones. So the last movie I took my family to was Spider-Man, the metaverse, the whatever it's called, the multiverse.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, multiverse. That's the last one I took my kids to, even the little one, you know what I mean? But I just, different reasons. But again, we're a family that goes to movies. That's my wife was never the person that did that. I did that, and we started to do it as a family. And so, like, I love the experience of movies because of my childhood. But it's slowly fading away where I can now order the movie here from the house for $40 or $20, and we just popcorn it up and chill. And so that to me is, I like that too. I wish there was still drive-in theater because I'd love my kids to have that experience.
Amazing. That was amazing. It was so much fun, dude. I remember going to the movie theater, seeing all the classics. My dad would always take me there. Took me a couple times in his patrol car. We would go, we would sit there. He'd be on duty. He'd be like, I'm swinging by and picking you up. He was the LA County Sheriff. So he would come by and grab us, scoop us up, and we would go to the drive-in movie theater. And it's funny because I know I'm off kilter.
No, you're good.
That smell, the smell of the inside of a police car is home. Like,
that's cool.
I associate that with my childhood, I have so many stories about my pops, dude, because we ended up doing security together, and he's old school. Like, I mean, he's old, dude. He's like, he's 70s. He's in his 70s now. And when we were doing security together, it was right on the cusp of like these new, I hate this word, tactics. These new tactics coming into play in security, right? So like a lot of Mossad guys, or they say they're Mossad and you don't know, or rolling into these security training centers and going like, we're going to teach you close quarters combat. Okay, he's going to attack you like this. It's like, motherfucker, it doesn't happen that way, right? But my dad, all these guys were into this, man. Like, they were into this, close quarters combat. They were into all this stuff. And we went out to the range one day, and it was this Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon, like, Murtaugh moment. Where my dad's out there, and these guys, they're doing, what do you call it? The Israeli peak, right?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
We're doing elevator drills, right? So we're like going up and down, doing all that stuff, running and gunning, running, shooting. And my dad's there just going like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, he's still TJ Hooker, with his side. He's still, weavering it up. You know what I mean? Like, he's still doing that. So we're sitting there, and these guys are running, man, and their grouping's great, and they're doing good, and I'm struggling to keep up and feeling like an idiot and trying to get this down and what I'm being taught. And they're doing stress inoculation at the same time. And my pops comes sliding in. he runs to his point where he's supposed to shoot, and they're trying to teach him like, hey, Greg, it's like this. And instead, like, if this is it, if this is the wall and this is downrange, he's literally like this. Bah, 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 and it just slides in, dude. The legs sliding across the ground. And he got the closest grouping out of everybody.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well,
PJ Hooker,
years
baby.
and years.
It's amazing.
I was saying years and years, man. That's like Tackleberry from fucking, you know what I mean? From
but Murtaugh saying like, you're when he says when he goes diplomatic immunity, and Murtaugh goes has been revoked, and shoots him in the head. But I say that just because like police work, my dad's old leather gun belt, like the uniform, going to Wayside Honor Rancho in Valencia and eating in the chow hall, and like, it was like that's childhood. Like that's childhood. I smell the leather of the sheriff's Bronco, and it's like, any of that stuff, man. And it's, it completely fucked me up for years. But like,
dude, my dad would come home. He's the LA City firefighter, 32 years. So my father would come home back in the time when there was a lot of fires. He'd come home smelling like smoke, man. I remember hugging him and the smoke smell. And it's like, I've never gotten that out of my fucking memory, dude. And he had a closet where he'd keep his turnouts. You'd open it, just like, just a cloud of like just the smoke sense. And I've never forgot about that, man. That's what my dad reminds me of. Like when I smell that fresh fire, or I'm always thinking of my pops. Like it's just what he came home smelling like.
Dude, that's incredible, man. That's so freaking cool. We have members of our family that were LA County Fire Department as well. But yeah, it was a wild time, freaking wild time. But sorry to go off on that. It's just that it's this all, world experience of kind of growing up in this, uber conservative Mormon household. Dad, you walk into my parents' house and, they got a big picture of Jesus on the wall and an autographed photo from George W. Bush Jr. and Ronald Reagan. So it's like that's the hierarchy in the house. And sometimes Ronald he's inching closer to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that was the world I grew up in. And, I think, doing security with him is another perspective of Hollywood, because we did the Golden Globes, we did the Oscars one year, did the Music Care event. My father worked for Spielberg and a couple other celebrities doing their home security. He was on their detail, their private detail teams. And it just showed me, not Spielberg, he was a sweetheart, but it just showed me another side. Like when you go to the green room at any of these award shows, it makes you never want to attend one, ever.
Why is that?
It's how you're treated, I think is part of it. You get to see people, this, man, like when you're doing security, it's glorified babysitting, like, and people give me shit all the time. They're just like, oh, you did security, you were like, Mr. Bodyguard, like blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, and I said this before we started, the least talented, least skilled guy on the team. And the only reason I got in there was because of nepotism, and my father pulled me in. But I also took the initiative to go out and train with military personnel, train with law enforcement, and do those things so I could, have that language, and, we could work together, and I wasn't standing around with my dick in my hand all the time, which was 9 times out of 10. But, when you get into those places, and when you start getting into the private lives of these people, you realize how much propaganda it all is. And people listening to this will go, well, duh. And it's like, no, but you don't understand. It's all branding and propaganda. It's all fucking bullshit.
I'm wrapping up my master's in psychology and hopefully going towards my PhD. And part of the stuff I study is the psychology of influence, right? Like, social psychology. And a lot of the fashion and styles and clothes and everything that people buy on a day in and day out basis was originally influenced by some kind of public mainstream person. And whether they want to believe it or not, it's what the influence is. The Yeezys, the shoes, the Jordans, all these styles that we're seeing our kids do now, or just like even just the actors now, what they wear, that's all part of a gimmick of selling merchandise. You know, those are sponsorships intentionally. They get paid to wear it. All the things, you know, and I know half these red carpets, no one's even paid for that outfit. They give it to them just so they can walk the carpet, so they can address the carpet and say, this is what I got. I'm wearing Louis Vuitton. I'm wearing fucking this, that. All of it is a fucking this crazy game of like social influence. And
brother, also the gift bags, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that are just. I'm looking around going like, if somebody doesn't pick up one of these fucking things,
I'll take two. I'll take two.
I'm out. I could buy a house, you know, like, but you're right. It is that thing, and that's easy. That's on an easy, danceable, okay, I get it, level. But then you start meeting monsters. Then you start meeting actual fucking monsters. You start meeting, fuck it. You start meeting guys like James Toback, who, you know, wrote The Gambler. You know, Google that fucking guy. Like, you start meeting these people, and you start going, okay, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Like, this is a monster. Like, this is a monster. This is a psychopath who now has power and authority and money and influence. And guess what? Psychopathy and that kind of those monsters, those abusers, as much as we've been sold this idea that it's people who, you know, straight white male, it's not. They come in all races. They come in all genders and types and sexual orientations. There's just as many female monsters as there are male monsters in Hollywood. And what do I mean by that? I mean people that are like, let me look at who we want to get on this project. They got the money, the power, and the influence. I want to fuck that guy. So I'm going to cast him, you know, or I'm going to represent him. I'm going to get him on my roster. I'm going to get her on my roster. The casting couch is held by just as many men it's just as many women as it is men. Just as many heterosexuals as there are homosexuals. But the other lie that's been propagated is ding dong, you know, the witch is dead. We killed Harvey Weinstein. It's done. It's over. We can celebrate now. Everything's great. It's like, you guys are fucking high. There's
been tons of stuff coming out. The girl from the iCarly, the co-host of that, she wrote a book, something like I Hate My Mom or something like that, or Wish My Mom Was Dead, something like that, what the name of her title of her book. And then several other documentaries from Netflix are now coming out. I mean, they're starting to, I feel, and I could be wrong, I feel a lot of them are starting to get identified and pushed out of Hollywood, or I don't know if pushed out, but I feel like, you know, I had this conversation on Minds, like I feel like there was an era of that is getting identified, and some of the newer actors who are not in that same mindset are hopefully kind of gaining ground and pushing out this old version of Hollywood that was really, really shitty and dark, man. And I'm not in Hollywood as much as you were in Hollywood. Am I wrong by saying that? Is there still people like, I mean, I'm sure there's still a foundation of it, but
dude, this is why I love you. And why I like, even if it's over FaceTime and just like, hey man, what's up? And talking to you and seeing you, you know, with your beautiful family. I would love to know, like, forget everything we're talking about. I would love to know, how the fuck do you keep this optimism? Like that fucking grin right there on your face, that, like, I don't know what the right word is. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, envy, I guess. Envious. Like, I'm kind of envious of you in that sense. Like, I think that's the right word. I mean, I look, you with everything you've seen in life, right? Fuck Hollywood. Like, everything you've seen in life, Hollywood must be a breeze after that. But then you take all this dirt, all this muck, everything that's on the border, everything that's happening in America, everything that happens in Hollywood, everything that happens in fucking Washington, which makes Hollywood look like, you know, the Smurfs. You still have this shit-eating grin and are just like, yeah, just give it to me on the chin again. I love that about you, man. I love that about you. And I'm just so, I admire that in you. How
Thank
do
you.
do it?
It's funny. You're like probably the third dude in Hollywood to say the same thing, and like I don't know how to answer it per se, but I've always been really good at compartmentalizing all the madness and just saying, when it shows up in my front door, I'll worry about it, kind of thing. I see it, I know it, I'm prepared for it, I'm trained, blah blah. My family sees it, but like I know that the government stuff is weird right now. Like I'll say weird, and that's a nice word for it. You know, I see that. I see that all the craziness in the world. I got it. But I'm still raising kids, and I want them to not be desensitized to life, and I want them to enjoy it. I want them to love it. And I think that comes from leading from the front, and I'm enjoying life. I still see there's a chance in Hollywood for me. I still believe in the dream. And you know, and if not, I'm still writing because I love it. You know what I mean? I still love the theater side of acting. I'm creating a one-man show that at least I can own that, you know, but I feel like there has to be a positive side to such a negative world. There has to be a positive outlook on it, or else, you know, you kind of get sucked into that. And I don't want to be. I want to give my kids positive me, you know what I mean? Because there's the side of me that's war. Right. There's a side of me that'll always be war. And, you know, and that side will come out when it needs to, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I want to kind of see the world in a way that like there's still a chance, you know?
Shit.
You good?
Yeah, man. If America's got any kind of a hope, I would be in people who think that way. It would be in people like you.
I appreciate that.
Man. Wow.
You're doing good things.
Maybe I've had this. I don't know. Maybe I've had this anger ladder leaning against the wrong wall. You know what I mean?
Look, man, I you know what's crazy about Hollywood for me is that it's the only place in my world that I've ever seen experts at their craft not get opportunities because the nepotism, because favoritism, because the color of their skin. Like I have really good friend actors who are white who will not get work because they're white right now because, you know, the Hollywood thing is not pushing the white narrative or however you want to call that. You know, they're looking for equality. Got it. But I've always been in the mindset of the best people should win at what they're good at and not just, you know, filling numbers for equality. I think I want great actors to be great. You know, I'll say it this way. Something that hits near and dear to me is that the Latino culture feels that they're underrepresented in Hollywood. Okay. I'll say that's fine. I mean, if you look at the data, okay, I guess it proves that. But for me, it's like how many Latino families are raising actors and wanting to raise theater actors or how many Latinos want that career field? You know, and if they want it, well, then fucking how hard are they working to get it? And in my sense, is like, I don't want to win an award because I'm Latino and the timing is right for me. I want to win an award that I'm so fucking good on screen that no one could take their eyes off me. That's exactly like, I don't want to win. You know what I mean? I don't want to win the participation award because of my skin. I want to win the award because I'm so fucking good at what I do that no one could turn their face from me and be like, fuck, he's good. And I would hope that more actors would look at the craft in that way and not saying, give me an award because I deserve it because my skin color is underrepresented in this culture, right? I don't find that to me doesn't feel good. I wouldn't raise my kids to do that. Like, hey, try and get an award because you're a daughter or son of a veteran. Like, fuck you. Be so fucking good, man. They can't fucking ignore you. That's how I see the world, and that's how I want to face it. Like, there's people that want Emmys. I do too, shit. But I want it when I deserve it. I want it when I earn it.
Man, amen. Like, you know, everything you're saying is that, you know, people act like Hollywood is a corporation in the sense of like a regular business, like a Starbucks or something. Like you can walk in there and go, my dad said something funny. This is terrible. And rest in peace, because it's one of my idols. And thank God I got to meet him. And he was a very tortured soul, but definitely one of the good guys, Philip Seymour Hoffman. But when he passed, when he died, my dad calls me up and he goes, "Hey, did you hear?" And I said, "Hear what?" And he goes, "Philip Seymour Hoffman." I go, "Yeah. I heard about it. Like I met him. It's terrible. It's tragic." And he goes, "Well, you know what?" And I said, "What?" He goes, he had 2 movies he was going to get done. That means there's an opening." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I said, "Bro, this isn't like Susan in marketing keeled over, and you gotta, we got shit. We gotta hire somebody to take over Susan's position. That's not how this works, man. Like those movies that he was attached to, they're probably sunk now. They're probably never going to get done ever." So it's like,
it's one of our greats, one of the greats, and he's like, "You feel that? More air for us." And you're like, "What?
What, Dad?"
Well, that's your dad for you. I love the quote that say, "There's no other man in your life that will ever want more for you than your father." Right? Your father's gonna want, like, he's the one guy, and like that's what your dad right there did. He goes, "Yo, bro, there's an opening. Go for it.
Go get it. You can get it." First of all, can't. Second of all, it doesn't work that way. But I think what you're saying is a lot of people look at Hollywood that way. Like even with the strikes, like, and again, I'm gonna say some shit, but it's like when Fran Drescher gets up there and she goes, "I'm shocked. We had this meeting with these studio executives and I'm shocked at how they treated us. This is unbelievable." It's like, you're shocked? You're not fucking shocked. Like these people have operated the same way since time immemorial. Like they have always operated this way. And by the way, when you were number one on your call sheet and running your show, there's people connected with that television show that were treating people like shit all the time, and this idea of like, I didn't know, I wasn't aware. You're full of shit. Anybody who says that, you're full of shit. Anybody who says, "I heard things about Kevin Spacey," like wrong. I heard things about Bryan Singer, wrong. Like you're wrong. And, I know Spacey's making a comeback and people want him to pursue his art and all that stuff, but too close, too close to know. Like when you work in a security capacity, it is glorified babysitting. I did that for 12 years and I got to see people up close and personal, some at their best, some people that I was like, I'm so glad. Jesus, thank you. Gary Oldman was one of those people. Gary was like, I'm like, oh God, when is this guy gonna, all of a sudden, I don't know, whip out a picture of like bestiality porn and go like, "Hey, you into this?" You know what I mean? And just a consummate gentleman, sober, incredible human being, very giving, very lovely. Somebody else who's, very, I guess controversial to some, but Shia. Shia's been a brother ever since we did, Man Down. And our relationship is very much text, videos of our kids, father stuff. We don't really talk or art stuff ever.
Yeah.
Doing good? Yeah. You doing good? Yeah, that's great. And to your point about, you said, I've seen people who've had it and lose it and not be able to get anything. I watched that in real time. I mean, I was on the street. I had, both of my kids at the time went to live with their mom in Utah. And I was out of a job. I was managing an apartment complex. I'd just gone through a divorce and a bankruptcy. This lovely Russian gentleman came in and was like, "My nephew needs a job. You leave." And that was it. Like, I was out. And so I lost the job and I was overqualified to be doorman at Barney's Beanery and was also a flight risk. So getting security gigs in California was really kind of problematic. And so I had to do all kinds of shit to survive. I had to deal dope. I had to fucking, I had to do all kinds of stuff around that time. It was whatever was going to get me paid. And I'm a shitty dope dealer. So that ended up with me selling my car, and then I'm on the street. And it was in that environment that I wrote Man Down. And Man Down occurred because I had an altercation with a veteran in Santa Monica. This guy was at a bus stop. He had this woman. And by the way, this dude was dressed like, you know, a holster sniffing fucking brand new rookie cop, you know, like high and tight, shirt tucked in, squared away, like moved like somebody I didn't want to fuck with, you know?
Yeah.
He had this woman outside of the Baron Brown studio in Santa Monica, where I was going. He had this woman, had two other actors with me, and had her, and he's screaming at her, and he was saying, what did he say? He said, I'm a police officer. He referenced something else, like I'm a what are those guys, Texas Ranger or some shit like that. And he's screaming at this woman, and he tosses her into the street. And we're pulling into the parking garage behind the acting studio, and I see this guy, and everybody in the car is like, you know, like, woo! You know, all the guys are like, this. So the windows roll down, and I go, hey, motherfucker. And I stop the car. He bolts. But he doesn't bolt like, takes off. He just looks at me, turns, and starts walking. And I'm going, this guy's like walking like fucking Jason Bourne or some shit. So I get on the phone with cops, I get on with Santa Monica PD. I'm like, I'm following this guy. This is where he's going. Just assaulted this woman at a bus stop. I'm going to fuck him up. They're like, no, don't do anything. Just, you know, and you don't have to follow him. Just tell us, you know, where he is. So I kept keeping eyes on him. We go up Lincoln, hang a left, and I come around the corner, and this dude has ditched his jacket and changed his shirt. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this dude doing? Like changing his appearance? Like, like this is a straight up movie. And I got this other actor who's following me. He's going, what are we going to do next? This little young pup. It's like an 18-year-old, you know, Meisner technique actor. And he's just going, okay, what are we going to do now, Adam? Like, what's happening? So I'm following this guy, and I'm going, hey, he's turning the corner, blah, blah, blah. We come around another street, and he's gone. And this woman is walking with her kid, and she goes, hey, are you looking for a guy that's like crazy talking to himself? I'm like, yeah, I'm on the phone with cops. And she goes, he went down that alley. And I go, dope, thank you. Like an idiot, I walk down the alley. I get halfway down. I can see all the way down. It's a whole street length, right? I get halfway down, and all of a sudden the fucking hair on the back of my neck stands up. And I just go, oh shit. The only way he's out of this alley is if he did a dead-on sprint and he's, you know, Usain Bolt. So he's here, and I'm in the middle of this fucking thing. Great. So I'm like, hey, this is where I am on the phone with the cops. I'm like, if you guys can fucking hurry, you know, that'd be great. And I turn around, and I see this foot sticking out of the side of a carport for one of the apartments, the back of the apartments. And I go, hey, man, I see you. Don't do anything stupid. And this dude steps out like the fucking metal Terminator in Judgment Day. Like just fucking boom, 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 boom. And he starts walking towards me. But he's doing this, dude, and you'll get it. He's walking towards me, and he goes, hey, man, so you a cop? And he's creeping on me as he's talking. And I go, no, man, but I go, you need to keep your hands where I can see him. You need to stop moving. And he goes, why do I need to stop moving? I don't need to stop moving. And he's engaging me. He's trying to get me in a fucking OODA loop and get me, and he's also changing levels. He's like moving. He's creeping up on me like a fucking pet. And I go, hey. And he goes, you didn't answer my question, you cop. And I said something to the effect of, you take another step and you're fucking done. And he stopped and asked me another couple questions, but adrenaline's running. I'm amped through the fucking gills because I think it's go time with this guy. And I see the cop pull down the side of the street. And I'm like, and he comes down. They pull in, they jump on this guy. He had 2 tactical knives on him, and one was in his hand that I didn't see. So he had one on his person. He had one in his hand that I didn't see. So if he had been on me, he would have fucked me up.
Yeah.
It would have been over. It would have been over. I'm not kidding anybody, right? Like, you know, done martial arts since I was a kid, done martial arts since I was a kid. That guy would have fucked me up. And the reason is, the officer said, this guy's assaulted multiple people. He's let out of the VA. I'm familiar with this guy. You know, we've been dealing with him for a long time. And I was like, shit, man. And I go, well, what's his story? And he's like, yeah, he's done multiple tours. Like, you know, he's dealing with a lot of shit. And I was like, man, I hope he fucking gets help, you know? But that started it. And then I was like, well, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean they kicked this guy loose? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Then I'm finding out that the VA at the time, things have changed, are putting guys on waiting lists, expecting them to die before they pay for their treatment. Like, there's the disorder and the chaos. I start to learn about that. By the way, I'm still couch surfing, still not making a dime, but I'm taking up a cause. And then I start, you know, the couple times I was at the Mission Homeless Shelter in downtown LA, I spoke to veterans. There's stolen valor, right? Like, make more money on the street if you tell people that you're a veteran.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a fucking day, dude, that I didn't come in contact with a veteran, and it angered the shit out of me. Like, I was furious. And so I got to writing, and I took, you know, the story of the abuse and the PTSD that I had gone through in my life. I was abused as a kid. I was sexually abused as a kid, and physically abused as a kid. And I kind of took that trauma and said, can I do something good with it? And if I wrap it in a fictional context, in a world that does exist, but that I'm not in. I'm not military, but I know I'm familiar with the world. I'm familiar with the vernacular. Then maybe I can bring some good to this issue, because this is a travesty. This is horrible. And, you know, it was so hard for me, man, because, and I know this is a bit of a rant, but why this leads back to Shia is because he read the script, he got it, and was like, all right, I'm in. I'm gonna fucking do this. And he gave us everything. And I watched that guy go from Indiana Jones's son and the lead of fucking Transformers. Like, that's it. He's at the top of this fucking game. And there's a couple things happening. He's struggling with some shit, but he arrives at Man Down, and he gives it his everything. I mean, that scene in the boot camp, I'll never forget. Our poor producers, my dear friend Patrick Kilmer, is an amazing guy. He comes up to me and goes, okay, brother, what we did is we got a canister here. We got lemon water. So it's going to sting. It'll give you that effect. And he grabs him by the shirt and he goes, if you don't fucking give me what they give them, I'm going to quit. So go fucking find me some pepper spray. They ran down to the tech advisor. He's like, okay, great. Like, they got it. They brought it. And he did 3 takes back to back of getting sprayed in the face with OC. And Tory Kills wasn't fucking around. Like, he went across the, or not Tory Kills. It was, he was an actual Marine, Nick Jones. Went across, he did the Z down his face and in his mouth. Just fucked him up. And then he had to hit the bag, grab his rifle, do all that stuff, do all the training, all the stuff, and then put his face in the fan. And as soon as they got that, his face is on the fan, cut. Okay, I think we got it. Shia's like, no, let's go again. And they go back to 1. And this dude tapped into some thing that I'd never seen before, that magic that you love, is he's there, and I've been sprayed. I went through that training. I'm like, I'm fucked for a day, maybe 2. I'm white. Like, you know, that sauce, that hits me different. I'm Irish Scottish, man. Like, we're not meant to get around anything peppers. But this dude is like, okay, all right. And he's back to 1, dude. Like, nothing happened. And they did that 2 times in a row. Now, I watched this savage, like, this man who gives it all. I watched him lose it all in front of my eyes. And thereby, and this pains him, and I don't say this with any And he knows, like, he knows. There's so much love that is beyond this bullshit. But we lost it. We went from a 10-minute standing ovation at the Venice, Italy Film Festival where I was like, the Hollywood dream is real. Like, this is fucking real, and it's surreal, and this is crazy. Like, what is going on? To he gets arrested, says a bunch of stuff about very powerful people, does very reprehensible shit that he knows and has admitted to and has worked on, and he's fully embraced the cactus and hugged the cactus and done the work, and he's not to get back into Hollywood, but just to be a better father, be a better man, be a better person. That's his motivation. I can say that 100%. But I watched that happen. And so I'm at the moment of like, this is it. Like, I'm going to be able to get all these other scripts and projects that I want done.
Yeah.
And they tossed my ass to the bottom of the fucking hill. Wrote a bunch of shit that wasn't real. Said we only sold one ticket in Europe, which wasn't true. Like, all of our investors, like, the investors made the money back. I still get residual checks. But they were like, this shit's canceled. This guy's done. Like, his rise is done. We're going to cut him off at the fucking knees. And he saw it happen. And he was struggling with his own demons at the time, so he couldn't do anything to protect it. And I had to be the guy. So now the producers who at the beginning were like, hey, man, fuck off. You're a writer. Get out of here. We don't need you. Leave. You're sitting in the back. Leave.
Yeah.
They're now like, please sit on this panel at the Toronto Film Festival and answer questions. And please, address these issues. And it was hard, man, because after that, nobody was fucking with me. Because, that was my brother. And he put his blood, sweat, and tears into what I wrote. And I defended him and was going to. And that cost me dearly, dearly. I couldn't get a gig to save my fucking life. So I was back. To square one, man. And then that didn't change until Joe Carnahan. It didn't change until him. And you want a story about resilience, look at that fucking guy. Like, the announcement just came out about him doing the film with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. He wrote it, he's directing it. But we started writing some scripts together, and he had me come in and pitch on Point Blank. And he was straight up with me, dude, like what you said. Because I got 5 other writers coming in and pitch. I'm not going to tell you, what to do. I'm going to give you that shot to come in. So if you want it, come in guns blazing. But you got to win over Gamont, Netflix, Frank. You got to win over all these people. And I'm like, all right, give me my shot. And I came in and fucking did it and got the gig and that. And then I thought that. I'm like, that's going to change everything. I got a billboard on Sunset Boulevard. This is going to change everything. Nope. I still qualify for Sam's. You know what I mean?
I think all of us go through that where it's like when I had Mayans, I was like, oh man, this could change my life. And then, season 1, season 2, not that I got like a few lines here and there. I'm on the show, but whatever, right? Season 3, I get more lines. Season 4, I'm a season regular. I'm like, all right, fuck yeah. Now they're taking me serious. They've given me the season regular title, which in the acting world, those listening, it's a big deal because it means that they believe in you. You're an actor who can pull off what they believe. So they're giving you the pay and they're also giving you a contract. Season 5, fuck yeah, same thing. Boom, come in as a writer. So now I'm a writer and an actor, season regular. Like, I got really good titles. And then mine's ended. And I haven't had nothing since. Like, nothing. And when I tell you, like, my agent the other day.
It's insane to me, dude. I watched that movie that you sent over to me that you did with
Lucy Shimmers.
Yeah, bro. Like, dude. And you already know, because I already fucked up on this podcast, but you already know. Like, I was in there like, oh, fucking shit, man. It's already in there. That hit me. It snuck up on me. That thing's amazing, dude. So good.
I know, dude. And that's the thing is, like, you think something's going to happen, but, like, I like my agent and my manager called me the other day, like, what's wrong? I said, you're sending me auditions and I'm not getting any of them. So I'm getting fucking pretty frustrated. I'm almost don't give a fuck about it anymore. Right. And they're like, don't do that. I said, bro, I found another way to pay my bills for now. And it just at least relieves the stress of like the hope and dreams that Hollywood might be. So like, I'm like focusing a lot on writing, but like, then all of a sudden I get a call yesterday. I was like, there's another role that's coming up and I'm like excited again, but it's like, it's tough, man, because I felt like I've done enough to prove I can hold my own. I can hold my own against some of the best.
Brother, you are here's at the very like, and I'm not like, who am I, right? Like, whatever. Like, I've done these 2 movies. Yeah, fuck that. Point Blank was the number 5th most watched action film in Netflix's roster, bitches. And on top of that, it was the number 6th most watched film, period, on Netflix. Want to know how much I got out of that? $60K. $60K. That's it. So who's making the money? And that's what led me to getting into AI and that whole thing, which we could talk about in a second. But like, you know, it did well because it was like, hey man, I just want to, it came from a place of love. Like, Man Down came from a place of like, I want to shake this thing to the ground and fucking make a difference. I want to say something, and something that I believe, which is, don't kill me, but which is like, we're getting involved in conflicts that we got the right way, the correct way, the truthful way. We're getting involved in conflicts that are led by corporations and not by military minds. That people are getting us involved in the situations for reasons other than our best advantage. On top of that, we have subsidiary agencies within the intelligence community that are lighting fires for us to put out. So, you know, without going crazy, Osama bin Laden trained by us to fight the Russians. We leave, just like we left everywhere else, and he's fucking pissed. And there's a bunch of other motivations that go into it. I'm way oversimplifying, and I understand that. I don't want to piss anybody off. I love America. But, you know, there is that. Then working on the Jonathan Pollard story, same thing. So I wrote a series based on his life. I met with the man in Israel. He's one of the most notorious spies in America's history, right? But that was a guy who saw something wrong and decided to say it. They've labeled him as a spy. He was a whistleblower. And what he found out is that, again, some LLC, corporation, S Corp, C Corp, whatever the fuck, that's under some agency that nobody knows the fucking name of, but ultimately is under the CIA's employ, goes into Iraq and says, we're going to help you develop chemical weapons to use against Iran. Then that same company goes to Iran and says, guess what? Iraq's making these weapons. But don't worry, we're going to sell you the antidotes. We're also going to give you weapons to use against them. Then, and this is during the Reagan administration, while Iran-Contra is going on, they go to Israel and they go, guess what? We have a new weapon system that we want to sell you. Why do you need it? Because these 2 motherfuckers are going to take you out with the weapons that they just got. So we're selling weapons to the Bloods, the Crips, the Sureños, and the Norteños. And then we're going, you guys are fucking out of control. We got to invade. So when Saddam Hussein gasses the Kurds, the United Nations goes, this is a fucking war crime. What the fuck are you doing? And we want to send inspectors. And he goes, come on in. Send them. Send them. I'll show you. Do the soil samples. I'll show you where it is. And this is an evil fucking man, right? Evil man. And his fucking sons. Horrific. Terrible people. Needed to be put down. Like dogs. But those dogs were given weapons by us. So we have to invade. We got to go in and we got to find it. And we got to do that while we're chasing down this other motherfucker who we trained, right? So that happens, and fast forward, the reason we're invading when that happens is because the man who was aware of that operation, who ran the CIA under Reagan at that time, was George W. Bush Sr. So now there's a fucking problem. Your dad is going to get found out that he had knowledge of this operation. What do you want to do? And everybody says it's a war for oil and all this other bullshit. That ain't it. Like, maybe that's part of it, but there's other things that were at play. Was he a bad guy? Yeah, for sure. Did he need to get put down? 100%. Are there other people that are just as dangerous or more so and a bigger threat to the United States at the time? Yep. Well, we left those guys alone. So there were other reasons. That experience of reading documents that have been declassified and documents that are classified that everybody fully knows he took. So it ain't nothing special that I got to see them. So lay off me. Anybody watching this, don't come knocking on my door. I got a story about that I'll tell you offline. Anyway, but that shit, right, made me go, oh no. Like, oh no. This whole thing is rigged. And while, when that's going down, brother, I'm going to Camp Pendleton and I'm trying to do private screenings of a film to save my fucking ass and put food in the mouths of my kids.
Yeah.
And I literally took man down on the road, and Shia came to some of those and did Q&As. But I'll never forget that, man. I'll never forget that. I was sitting in a room, and this Marine said, I thought the film, was great, it's good, but I take issue with you and me. And he goes, you're just a civilian. You're just a guy, just an outside observer, just like watching this thing, right? And where the fuck do you, and very open, he goes, where the fuck do you get off like talking about this? Because it seems like my brothers and sisters are fighting and dying for your right to speak ill of the military. And I'm like, ooh, like that's hard. Like I got put on the spot. I got checked. And I go, all right, so they're fighting and dying for my rights. So I said, brother, at the risk of everybody in here rising up and tearing me limb from limb, and I see the administrators all sitting here looking at me, but burning holes into my body. When? And that's a tough thing to say. When? Vietnam? Where we got involved because of the Gulf of Tonkin? Like a completely, manipulated event that got us involved in that so that DARPA could do some experiments. The beginnings of DARPA, this great book called The History of DARPA, written by this woman, I forget her name, but it's incredible. And the experimentation that they were doing on the Vietnamese people. It's horrific. But there's these other things that are always at play that isn't so black and white. It isn't so good guy versus bad guy, Batman versus, the Joker. It's not so simple. There are instances of that happening, for sure. Like you look at World War II, you look at some of these engagements we're involved in. Going in and fucking taking out Osama bin Laden, 100%, get him, bag him, kill him, But it's like, there's these other things that cost us so much. And then when these guys come home, I told this guy, I go, was it Desert Storm? Was it this? And I started laying out this information as I laid it out to you. And they're like, cut this guy's mic. Get him the fuck out of here. Get this guy out of here. Because these kids, man, like coming out of boot camp, start going, what the fuck is he talking about? What is he talking about? Operation OneNote. What the fuck is he talking about? Google that shit, And you don't want that. You want these guys being patriotic. You want these guys serving their country, feeling that sense of duty. So I didn't want to be that guy either. But I also got to eat. Like my kids got to eat. I got to defend my position. So I was put in a really shitty place that fucked me up. And the whole time I'm just trying to make sure you guys don't come home and qualify for fucking food stamps. That's absurd to me. That's crazy to me. That you get the mental health care that you get. Listen, man, somebody goes over and takes bullets for this country or lays down, lays down hate, they should come home and not have to pay for a fucking thing. Like, serious, that's my view. And people can go, oh, how are we going to pay for that? I don't know, man. But that's my view, right? I think you sacrifice the most, we should take care of you. That's the fucking least we should do. And we don't. And it's shameful as a country that we don't do that unless you're a special person. So like American Sniper, which came out, Mandan came out in that same kind of time. Chris Kyle was a dude who had those things because they had a ventured interest in that guy not going off kilter. You got to make sure because that's a prize pony, right? So he had every resource available to him. But these guys that are going and serving and coming home, you know, they don't get that. They don't have access to those things. I know things have changed. I know some things have gotten better, but it's still fucked. And I told these guys, I'm just like, you know, battle buddies or whatever. Like, where the fuck are you guys? All these guys are on the street. Where's their teammates? Where's their people? Right? But you're going to shit on me for being the guy who's bringing it to light. But where the fuck are you?
Yeah, you know? I get frustrated with the veteran community in that aspect. Like,
I'm so sorry, dude, by the way. I'm sorry for that.
You're good. I get frustrated with the veteran community by even, you know, questioning you. It's like anyone who tells our story is doing us a favor, is trying. And that's, to me, that's a fucking important effort. I got mad at the actor. He's a redheaded actor. He was on The Unit. Max.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I got mad at him, and I wasn't even mad at him. I just made a comment like, man, if you make a veteran movie, I'm tired of seeing them fail. I'd like to see someone have some kind of success. That's what and he got upset. He goes, hey, we raised all kinds of money. I was like, yeah, you did, man, but you're not thinking the way that we probably should start thinking for veterans. We should start telling a story of success. We should start telling, because there's more veterans who find success than the other.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, but
look at the environment, man. Like, look at you. You know, look at you. I know you're like still like thinking we're going to talk about that, but like you're, you know, why are you a king in my eyes? Like, because, dude, you handled your shit. You grabbed a hold of your, you know, it's like, it's the same shit I said to Shia. I was just like, dude, I don't care. Megalopolis, I don't give a fuck. You know, the movie that I just wrote that, you know, maybe he's going to do. The 2 movies that I wrote that maybe he's going to do. I know you're watching, motherfucker. So, but it's like, I don't care. Like, I care that what makes you king. It's that Bob Marley quote, you know, when Bob Marley's like, you know, he's like, what do you think? Are you a rich man? He's like, what do you mean rich? You know, and he's like, well, don't you have millions of dollars? He's like, $1 million makes you rich? He's like, no, man, money don't make you rich. My richness is life. You've won. You won, Vincent. Like, you fucking won, dude. And I know you're not perfect. I know you struggle. I know you have all kinds of struggles and shit, but at the end of the day, like, you're trying to do right. You're a good father. You're a good husband. You're pursuing your art and your craft with intent and purpose and with love in your heart. Like, that's incredible, bro. Like, and to see the world that you've seen and to understand the darkness of it, because Hollywood is absolutely dark. I watched them eviscerate this guy and destroy this guy, and they're still doing it. Even though he's done the mea culpas, not to do it for the art's sake, but he's done it to better his life. But you know it, and you're still doing it. So in that sense, man, like, I mean, I see guys like that in the veteran community, and I you know, as a civilian dude, like, I'd follow you fucking guys anywhere. I really would, because I can believe in that.
Appreciate that.
I can believe in you, and I can believe in people like you, not in a savior kind of way, which is America's problem. They're constantly looking for a savior. You know, we got a savior problem. Donald Trump's going to save me. Joe Biden's going to save me. They're both fucking idiots. You know, I'll never forget seeing Matt Getz and Ocasio-Cortez partying together in Hollywood. I'll never forget that in my life. Walking in and seeing those two who on the Senate floor were at each other's throats and they're yucking it up. And you look at their investment portfolios and you're going, shit's very similar. Anyway, I digress. But like, dude, that's the reason I left America. Because I know there's people watching this. They're going, well, you don't like to get the fuck out. I did, asshole. I've been gone for 2 years. Nobody misses me. America doesn't miss me. I miss America, but America's in trouble. But yeah, dude. So I'm saying that in a sense of, I respect the fuck out of you. I respect the fuck out of people in that circle, and there's quite a few. but it's so small, man. It's so small. And that's the thing about Hollywood too. I think America's in a really perilous moment. I think there's hope. The hope is in people like you, but man, motherfucker, you guys are like, you're like the 300, dude. You know, it's a great story. It's really fucking inspirational. It'll be told for generations to come, but they fucking lost. They fucking died. You know what I mean? But I guess in the long run, like, you know, the other people rose up and kicked out the Persians or whatever. But that's how I see it, bro. And you know, there's a lot of love that I have, you know, for you and people in your circle, just because you guys are trying to be, and that's your mission statement, dude. Be a better father, be a better husband, be a better person. You know, if success comes, it comes, but we got a job to do, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Well, dude, I read your article you wrote about AI, and you know, I know part of the original acting strike, there were stipulations about AI, and there was a big old controversy about AI and how much it should be used, and writers' rooms getting kind of dissolved because of it, and everything else. And your perspective on your article was it was like you have a strong perspective of Hollywood and the AI, and where Hollywood should be prepared for it. It's kind of like you either learn how to use it or you get blown away.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear more on that and for the audience to understand that better.
So, brother, NolanAI, you know, when I was pushing a broom at James Cameron's production company, this is right after the homelessness. Lovely gentleman. It's unfortunate because we haven't spoken in a long time. That's on my amends list. Jeff Miller. Jeff, if you're, you know, good to hear this podcast, I would love to speak to you. He got me a job when I couldn't get one to save my life. Brother, I went from making $175,000 a year to fucking nothing, and managing, you know, millions of dollars for security teams that were going with Mitt Romney and in fucking Ghana and all kinds of stuff. But you know, Jeff got me that job, and I said in the article, I was pushing the broom. My job was to build sets. I was a set builder, and then take down the sets, clean up for all the test shoots. That's what I did. I got to meet a lot of people, and how I kind of got the word out there about some of my scripts. And James Cameron came in one day, and he walked the floor, and he made it a point to meet every single person who worked at that company. So we didn't see him on the daily. It was his company, but he came in. It was like, holy fuck. And that guy's an engineer. He's not a director by any stretch of the imagination, even though he's a legend. He's an engineer. He's diving down to the deepest part of the ocean. He's a fucking crazy man. But he came over and talked to me, and it was great because 3 days later, he made me a sales producer, which was quadruple of what I was making building sets, and then really got me into producing, which I've been able to leverage, and I've now produced multiple films, and I got a series that I just produced in Israel. So, but he said, the thing that's coming is artificial intelligence. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? Like, this is a crazy man talking. But then I started to see beta testing of some of these things that were coming out. There's a dear friend of mine, you can look him up, his name's Joshua Wolf. We grew up together in California. He went on to be Tony Stark, and I went on to be, fucking the Fisher King. That's what happened. He literally is Tony Stark. He knows Robert Downey Jr. well, manages his money, like he's incredible. But he runs a nanotech company. He just testified in front of Congress. They put all the microchips in tanks and satellites and all that shit. But he put me on to these emerging technologies, and it's scary as fuck. It's scary as shit, man. The stuff that's coming, fuck Hollywood. The stuff that's coming, and like this year, like in the next months, that's coming that is AI related is terrifying. And it's terrifying because we will not be able to discern between what is real and what is not.
Yeah.
So because of that, AI started being implemented into Hollywood years ago. Years ago. We're just finding out about it now. So they're so fucking far ahead of us. It's like, as you know, the military. When the military goes, guess what? We got the shiny new weapon. Well, guess what? They're 10 stages past that fucking thing. They're just letting you know we got the bomber. We got the stealth bomber. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. No, actually, we can pop into a dimension, pop out of another dimension and snipe you in your sleep, motherfucker, wherever you are in the world. Like whatever. We have a teleportation device. The same goes with Hollywood. So we started figuring out, and I did an Instagram post about it 2 years ago, man, where I said, what's going to happen is people are going to strike and the studio heads are going to push it as long as they can so they can implement AI into strategic positions whereby they can use fewer writers, fewer actors, fewer directors, fewer stunt people. The list goes on and on. They're going to cut their bottom line. And that is what has happened. And people are like, how'd you know? It's like, because I'm in it. So I partnered up with these guys because I was looking for, I'm like, ChatGPT? No, Sam Altman's a psychopath. Any of these other things, like these dudes are nuts, bro. They're just like, and I'm simplifying, but still it remains. They want that freaking moment of tech becoming sentient above all else. They don't care what it costs. They don't care what the collateral damage is. They don't give a fuck. They want that prize. They want to see that happen. And if that means AI becomes savvy enough to crash all the markets, so be it. If it means it collapses the electrical grid, fine. Doesn't matter. They don't care. So, but they're going to replace actors. Anyway, but I found NolanAI because it was founded by, we're literally standing at the end of the world and we're like, but our jobs. But these two Armenians who I've just grown to love, and they're incredible, and they are like you. They are just like, I want to tell stories, man. Like we were looking at all the things that people need to make a film. Write a script, create a pitch deck. Nobody tells you that when you're writing a script. But make a pitch deck, storyboard your movie, get a schedule, get a breakdown, get a budget, get days in, days out. And by budget, get all your below the line factored in because the above the line is a moving target. You'll figure that out when you get to casting. But we can do the heavy lifting. Boom, create a budget for you, right? And then sales and distribution. So I'm looking at where they want to go. And I'll never forget this. I remember asking him, I said, okay, first of all, what are your AI models trained on? That's the first thing. How can we be Batman? How can we not kill and still do our job and compete against people that have no rules at all and no ethics and no morals and no values? And their systems are being used by people with no ethics and no morals and no values. Studio heads. Hi, Bob Iger. So it's true. That motherfucker cut the trees down so the people protesting wouldn't have shade to protest it. That's the kind of psychopathy that we're dealing with. And again, brother, and I'll finish the NolanAI, but again, it's because Hollywood rewards psychopathy and clinical narcissism. It's just what it is. There's a healthy dose of narcissism that one needs. We've gotten into this weird world where narcissism is like, oh, narcissist. But it's like, we all need it. You need to believe in yourself, right? That's where you get the overt kind of semi-healthy narcissism, the Conor McGregors, the guys who are succeeding at shit, killing shit, right? Even the Joe Rogans and stuff like that. Guys who believe in themselves, who have this no, I believe I'm going to get this shit done. But then there's clinical narcissists who are I'll kill. They lack empathy. They have no empathy for what they're doing. And then it goes into psychopathy, right? And sociopathy. But sociopaths, at least there's some kind of emotional thing, Clay, to work with. Psychopaths, you've got a chance in hell. And so that Hollywood attracts those moths, right? So there it is. So it doesn't really matter if the system that attracts every fucking psychopath on the planet is corrupt or not. It's being run by those character types. It's just like Washington, D.C. There was a time when Washington operated a certain way, but now everybody's they're multimillionaires, billionaires, because they're hedging their bets on the laws that they're passing, and they're manipulating the markets, and they're just trying to get paid. They're just trying to get a bag, and it's all theatrics. It's all theatrics. And we're told, get out there and vote. Get out there and vote. Okay. Because really, so everybody in America voting is what got us Biden versus Trump, or is that all orchestrated? And then we're told, pick one. Because that's the reality. And what's the solution? The solution is something that I couldn't say in America. It's something that my father and I have had long conversations where he's crying, you know? And, you know, my father was Army. And where he's going, I don't see a way out. And I'm not young enough and strong enough to be able to do what is necessary, which is, I don't have those answers. I don't know. Install an interim military government and pull all these motherfuckers out left, right, and center and put them on trial. Maybe that's the solution. But when it's so overgrown with corruption, what is the solution? Like, what is the solution? So, you know, man, NolanAI, I have to just focus on what is in my immediate control, like what you said. What is right here that I can get my hands on that'll have the biggest splash? Because it's not the years, it's the mileage. I put a lot of mileage on this body. I could kick the bucket in like 2 months from now. My body's all kinds of fucked up. But like, you know, man, like, how can I affect change? So talking to these guys, they're dreamers, they're amazing. And I'm like, you're telling me that if we get this right, we don't replace anybody. Like, we don't replace people. We just move the goalpost of collaboration, but we're still using actors, writers, line producers, sales reps, distributors, right? So we're still able to do that, but we're decreasing costs, we're streamlining processes, and we're putting the power in the hands of the creatives to be able to make their own shit. So I don't need to go, you know, all right, I got this great pitch. Hey, how's it going? My name is Vincent Vargas. I'm going to be reading for the role of, you know, fucking The Incredible Hulk. I'm reading for this. You know, okay, Vincent, go ahead. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to start here on this monologue. Okay, great. Take it away, Vince, whenever you're ready. Okay, so to be or not to be, that is the question. Okay, Vince, that's going to be great. Thanks for coming in. That's awesome. Prepared this whole fucking thing. You don't have to do that anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Because the studios have all the AI at their hands. They're already using it. They're using it for VFX. While everybody's protesting, Marvel releases a film that has all of its VFX.
Which one? Is that the Blue Beetle?
Yeah. So they're using AI.
Yep.
The Secret Wars did their end credits with AI.
Yep.
They're doing shit with actors' voices. They're just going ahead and they're doing it. And meanwhile, the heavy hitters, they're signing contracts that nobody knows about. You can use my likeness indefinitely for $30 million. Go ahead and use my dead flesh puppet AI body in perpetuity. And they're signing.
Who was it who did that? That was Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few. I've got
because he was struggling with his
dementia. Yeah, that was sad.
Crazy times, bro.
He's a great guy, but that's where we are. So we took it back to where Justine Bateman, who's really smart, really knowledgeable. She'll probably read that article and go, "I'm gonna fucking kill this guy," and then she's gonna, come after me. I would love to sit down with her. I would love to talk to her. She's leading the charge kind of against any AI involvement in Hollywood. Well, you can't stop it. It's here. They're using it. So we got to arm the rebels. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because the machine's coming through. So I got to give creatives these tools and educate them so that they don't get bowled over, so that these groups like what you said, brother, like and I talk about this briefly in the article, but Latinos, what they say in America, like minorities or marginalized groups. Yeah. Hollywood's solution to that was to create chaos and division. Let's just cold stone a bunch of fucking roles in here and just fold them all into these projects without good story, without good, without the basics of storytelling. Let's give all these groups lip service and maybe they'll shut up. And then it pisses off everybody else because they go, what the fuck is this? This Madam Web. What the fuck is this movie? It's garbage. Like, why are you doing this? And how much money did you spend? What the fuck is this? And Dakota Johnson didn't even want to be there? Like, give me that fucking money, But they're doing it because of those reasons.
It's a crazy time, man. Actually, after this podcast, I have another podcast with a LA Latino writer, and I'm just trying to give him, but I'm going to connect you with him as well. Just now the thought.
Because right now it's based on training models. So instead of going out and grabbing a bunch of scripts, which is against the WGA guidelines. So NolanAI follows every guideline that the WGA puts out. We follow every guideline that SAG puts out. That's the rule. We want to be guild compliant with everybody. So that's number one. Number two, our AI isn't trained on what ChatGPT does, which is if you're like, hey, ChatGPT, write me a fucking story. It goes out and grabs other people's work, uses that in the mold, and kind of regurgitates this thing. I went back to the models with our designers and I said, I want it to fundamentally understand what good storytelling is. So we fed it Joseph Campbell's Power of Myth. We fed it Save the Cat. We fed it, all the David Mamet. We fed it all these Sid Fields books. We fed it everything on screenwriting and going back forever. I mean, I couldn't even list you everything we gave it, but every book that's ever been written, and there's patterns to it. Character, plot, the 3-act structure, the hero's journey, universal truths, all of these kind of archetypes and figures that feed into what makes a good story. So objectively, this machine, when you upload your script, or it can help you write your script, there's that too, help you work past writer's block. They'll say, hey, I've got some suggestions. Maybe you want to explore this. Maybe you want to explore that. But once you have a finished script and you upload it, then at that point, it says, okay, let me break it down for you. Here's your coverage, which usually takes weeks, and you're getting a bunch of subjective bullshit in your coverage from readers that are human. This thing is saying, no, man, you got a plot hole here. Your character arc isn't fully fleshed out here. Hey, this thing is not mapped out. You gotta map this out. This isn't clear. You brought up this character and then we lost them. So it gives you that coverage, and you go, okay, now I can fix those things. I can work on those things. So it helps the writer. But then it also, you can use it to instantly create a pitch deck. You can storyboard your entire film in seconds, but that requires a lot of tweaking. If you just want, I just want to storyboard it. Tell me what you see, computer. It'll storyboard your entire film. Or you can do it scene by scene and make those tweaks and put in the camera directions and do all that stuff. And then everything leading up to production that is creative and non-creative, it'll do. Schedule, breakdown, scoring, your scene breakdowns, and that's leading into our next rollout at the end of the year, which is going to be the big disruptor, which is budgets. That factors in all the tax incentives from around the world. It's fucking gnarly. It's gnarly. So budgets, and then sales and distribution. Because what we want to do, going back to what you said at the beginning of this conversation about your kids watching it on screens and you watching it on Netflix, that's it, man. If I have a project, if you have your script and you're an amazing writer, if you have your script and now in a weekend can have a pitch deck, storyboarded your idea, to articulate the vision of what the film actually looks like, having some casting suggestions, give a rough breakdown of the below-the-line budget of what it will cost, have a schedule, a shooting schedule that you can mess around with, and also present some options of where they can shoot the movie that gives you the best tax incentive advantage. Holy shit. Now you're walking in and going, bam, this is what I have. And then it's like, but then you're still asking for permission. So fuck that. I don't like that. Because then you're still making a presentation for somebody.
Yeah.
No. Now the next rollout is budgeting, and with the community that we've created and with the partnerships that we've had that are all under lock and key because nobody wants to be associated with AI right now, but we've signed the contracts. We now have a direct pipeline to sales and distribution.
Damn. So if someone likes the script, likes all the information, they could fund it for you. And then boom,
goes right out to a network of investors who take a look at that, almost like it's a bad comparison, but almost like an angels list. And they go, what do you got? There's, these people, this potential package, this budget, shooting here, this genre, this is what it is.
That would change Hollywood. That would change Hollywood dramatically.
And then it's you. You're like, okay, I got these investors. These people are willing to come into it. We got this distribution company or this platform that wants to do it. This is how we're going to get it done. But at least you have those options of, do I want to? Yeah, fuck it. I can. I can go to this cell phone provider because they want to kick out content. I can go to this social media platform because they're kicking out content, and they'll pay. They'll pay to distribute. Like, it'll get out there, it'll get seen. Or I can go to these major streaming platforms because they want to see it and they want to do it. I got the financing. Now we just got a package. So what's also needed is agents. They're saying, well, AI is going to get rid of agents and managers. Well, not necessarily. We still need them for packaging, because what we could do is say, hey, we got this package. Who fits? Who wants to be involved in this? Because now we got the money. It's like, so, okay, we want, Vincent for this role. Okay, cool. Let's put down a pay-to-play offer, $300K for, a week of shooting for Vince, for my boy Vince. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's what it is. And we're so fucking close to getting it done. And I'm in the same position that I was in with Man Down, which was I'm trying to do the ethical thing, the right thing. Because if I do nothing, I get killed.
Yes.
We all get killed. So getting a stamp of my movie didn't use AI, that fucking solves nothing. Like, we have to be educated about the technology. We have to use it, and we have to use it in an ethical way against people that are psychopaths. So that's the ecosystem. And the only way I could do that was outside of the country. So that's why I left. But I've been able to, everywhere we moved, my amazing fiance and our baby, I've been able to find work. It's been rough, dude. It's been rough. Every country, I don't speak Portuguese, bro. But we came to Brazil, and I wrote 2 horror films down here. I
Nice.
worked for a production company, and I just figured it out. Then we decided, okay, Thailand's where we're going to be. I love all the people taking credit for the Thailand tax incentive. That was us. Like, we did it, but go ahead and take credit for it. That's nice. Because when you come and try to do the production in Thailand, you're still going to have to work with us. So
that's funny.
We secured that. But it's like, I don't speak Thai, but I got there and was like, okay, baby's got to eat. My son started having issues, and it was like, okay, I got to work. And I'm in a country where I don't speak the language, and I got to fucking figure it out. I'll tell you what, dude, this is another thing. You guys are my best friends and my worst enemies. Like, the expat veteran communities in all these spots have saved my fucking bacon, dude. Like, they've been exceptional. Exceptional. Good. Yeah, incredible people. And I love them to death. But it's the same vibe. They're like, yeah, man, I had to get out because this thing's, I feel like it's, our armies are marching around Jericho shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. But check out NolanAI. Check out my blog.
Yeah. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to make sure.
I know you got to finish, but I do want to get your take. And I want to get it on this.
Go ahead.
America. I've heard you talk. I know it's a long thing that you could go into, but I've heard you talk and say, people are down on America and saying this thing, and it sucks because it takes away the magic of what America is. And I couldn't agree with you more. my issue is that there's a quote. I can't remember who said it. Probably came from some Mormon guy because of my upbringing. I have so many of those and songs and scriptures in my head. But he said, there comes a time when the general defilement of a society becomes so great that the rising generation cannot be said to have a fair choice between the ways of light and the ways of darkness. That really is the end result of propaganda, and it's aimed to destabilize. The same destabilization tactics the United States has used in South America and the Middle East are now being used on us. So,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's the question?
What is the fucking way out, dude? Is there a way out for America?
Yeah. Like, just look at this election. It's a challenging one, right? Like, who are you going to vote for, right? Like, everyone's like, who are you going to vote for? I guess I see it like this. I'm grounded by God. And so I don't fear this reality as much as I care to see what happens next after life. And so I'll run this one until it's time to fucking die. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. You know, like, right. If it comes to I have to defend the country again, then I will. And I'll pick a side, what I feel is right and what I feel is justified and what I feel like I can go to God and say, I believed in this cause and I died for this cause. And that's how I see the world. That's how I saw war back in the day. That's how I saw serving our country on this soil with Border Patrol. And that's how now, if it comes to terms where I have to fight, well, I have a couple of sons that are old enough, I'd say, follow me and let's go fight this war. And if I die serving that war, that's something I so profoundly believe in, then so be it. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's a chance where this country does fail. And if it does fail, you know, part of me says, what do I do? Do I take my family and run? Well, there's a possibility if that's the conversation me and my wife have, right? And I'm talking like the moment of like, oh shit, no joke. This whole thing is destabilizing. We're going to fight for our food. Well, then we fight for our fucking food. And if we die fighting for that, it would be sad to see my kids get hurt. It'd be sad to see my wife get hurt, my family get hurt, but I will still fight for the chance of a life that my family can be free.
That's incredible, dude. We didn't, you know, for me, and there's other things that we'll talk about off here, but I really didn't have an option. My only option was to bounce because I'd made enemies in certain circles in Hollywood, you know, and same reasons. There is light, there is darkness, there is good, there's evil, there's God, there is the devil, and that is true. What that manifests and what that looks like and whose book and whose doors you walk into for that, I don't know. But I know where I want to be standing. And it wasn't in the middle of LA. Fuck that noise. There's great people and there's great communities there. There's great artists. There's really good people there. But it is, for me, especially with a new boy coming into the world, we just had to go, okay, where's safe? And that ended up in both places being a farm in the middle of fucking nowhere. It was beautiful. Yeah. It was amazing. But I had to go there to get the resources together to come back and go, now what? Because in all that time, nothing was on IMDb. I didn't have shit on IMDb, and I didn't advertise nothing. But now is the season to step back in and go, yeah, while I was away, got 4 movies done, 3 television series. They're in the can. I haven't talked about them, and they're all international. And I got an AI company that's going to fuck you up. So let's talk. You know, like let's dance. And
I like the my song for the podcast opening is always Frank Sinatra's "I Did It My Way," and it's something I believe in. I will always live my life my way, and you've lived life your way, and you did it your way. And I'm going to continue to pursue Hollywood my way. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm here to help, and you already know. You already know.
we got, tell Shia, hit me up. We'll talk.
Bro, but I just think the stories that you have to tell are exceptional because they come from truth. And there's plenty of charlatans that come out that say they're in the veteran community, they get big time gigs, and you're like, you didn't really do what you say you did. You're not really who you say you are.
There's only a few of us. There's only a few of us in Hollywood. And
that's because Hollywood doesn't ask questions. They just go, oh, you're a veteran? Okay, I'm not going to fucking say anything. Yeah, come on in. You're the fucking guy.
They just keep hiring SEALs. They keep hiring SEALs.
Yeah.
That's a jab at SEALs, but I do love all my special operations dudes either way.
But brother, we're gonna get it done. And my whole message for this thing is just, I know I'm very jaded and kind of negative, and it is because, I don't take those hits on the chin as well as you do. And that is my failing in my body. That I take those hits, it fucks me up, and I think all kinds of dark things. But you take it with grace and with poise, and still you'll fuck somebody up, but it's got to be right time, right place, with fucking right tools. So, but I'm here to give, and it is a message of hope. That listen, if you're an independent creator, if you are interested in getting into Hollywood, the tools are all available for you, and know going in that there is no summer camp, ain't nobody your friend, the cavalry's not coming, and you are entirely on your own. So you may get one or two people to the right or left of you, and keep your peripheral open on those fuckers as well. But no, it is up to you to get shit done. And I am here and making it my mission. And we're already launching in schools. We got pods at all these different universities. We're educating students. I want to give it to up and coming for free. We're going to up and coming filmmakers, giving them these tools, and then saying, okay, we want you guys to make this all the way through, and we'll back your play, and then see where it goes and see what happens. But our goal is disruption, but it's disruption in an ethical way, and it's to back those people who have been kept out for too long. Guys like you who have great stories. We're founded in, I'm not Angel Studios. I'm not that fucking guy. I'm not about to be like, founded in faith and stuff like that. But founded in light, And light can be heavy. Light can fuck you up. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, we're not making, the guy who's the lead in Hercules. We're not making Kirk Cameron movies. Like, that's not what the fuck this is, right? But we'll still back plays. And I'm sorry for my rant, but I haven't been able to speak.
It's all good.
As you know, like, I've only been able to talk to a couple people. And so there's a lot of like coming out. I apologize to your audience. But I love you, man. And yeah, wherever you go, I'll go for sure. For sure.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Bye, buddy.
I'll hit you up later, all right? Thank you.